we've got some silliness to talk about, and this silliness comes courtesy of one Nicholas J. Fuentes, because, of course, whenever dumb things are said on the internet, he is actually one of the places that I would generally check to see if the stupid has infected the human race further, or if it has managed to stay in containment. Unfortunately, is it the OKC bit? What, did he say something about OkCupid? No, it's not that. But first, we're going to get into the comment section, and then we're going to go a little further after that bit. But this one is from Code Neapolitan. Said, this is Disco Suris. I've been getting back into pixel art and thought to share it. Not sure if pixel art counts, but hey, pixel art is art, therefore it counts. So, said, no, he made fun of red cities. Oh, Oklahoma. Okay, maybe I just grew up on the side of the internet that used dating websites years ago, so, like, I see OKC and I'm like, OkCupid. Yeah, no, I don't think he said anything about that. Pretty sure he uses Grindr. But, okay, so this is after seeing the Hell of a Boss fan art of Millie and Luna down at the disco, and memories as a kid when everything from movies, TV shows, and video games had 70s nostalgia. But, Lydian, if you want to throw the video where he did that, where he said those things, into here, so we can look at that too, I would not mind. That gives me something more to do. Bagozi says, Trump has demanded a GOP rally, so, Grindr's about to go down. Yep. All right, as always, thank you for your fan art submissions. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. That said, here is the Nazi-in-Chief. Well, not really. The Nazi-in-Chief would be Elon Musk, and he's not really in the same area of power that he was before, but, he's still here. And it said, where's the rally being held, so that way I know if I need to back up my internet? Here it is. Okay, we'll take a look at this here in a second. Actually, no, we'll look at it first. Why not? Let's see here. MAGA influencers don't even want to live in red states. Okay, I have some words on this because I have a old friend who is very MAGA and has lost a lot of their friends due to being MAGA, and they don't understand why all of their female and queer and trans friends are all abandoning them, and it's very, very telling. But okay, just that friend had lots to say about how much they hated democratic cities because of the city that they live in, and I'm just like, man, down here we don't think a whole lot about the fact that it's a community because we're all fucking atomized, but okay. Nick Fuentes, what do you have for us?
Oklahoma City, dude. What are you, on drugs? Yeah, I'm gonna go to Oklahoma. I'm gonna get a big 10-gallon hat. I'm gonna walk around like this. With my belt buckle. Hey y'all, I'm in Oklahoma. What are you, high? You think I'm gonna live in Oklahoma where it's 10 trillion degrees and the whole state is red?
Okay, so I'm going to say a couple of things here. Is it just me, or does he seem like he sniffs a little more often than he used to? Like maybe there's a little bit of nose candy caught up there. I don't know. Maybe that's just my unprofessional observations.
I don't think so. I've never been there, but I don't think so. I don't know what's wrong. I actually like liberals. I actually like living near and around liberals. I like living around them. They're cultured. I don't want to eat barbecue all the time, actually. I don't want to eat a bunch of smoked meat in, like, syrup. Because that's what's good food down there. You say, what's your specialty? So we smoke meat, and then we cover it in syrup. We cover it in sweet and spicy syrup.
Yeah, you've described most of the house. Or most of the South. That's most pulled meats, actually. Like, that is just barbecue. That is certainly just barbecue. But I think it's very telling that that Fuentes here is using the food cover. The no, I want to be around liberals because the food is better. Like, no, I don't think it's the food that you want. I think it's because when you move out of the conservative circles, your likelihood of finding cat boys goes up, actually.
Oh, that's great. What else you got? Mac and cheese? So that's cheese sauce on noodles. Do I have that right? So you have meat with syrup on top and then pasta and cheese sauce. And that's your specialty. Yup. Okay, well, I think I'll just stick around here, actually. I think I'm good with the lattes, actually. I think I'll take the matcha. I think I'll stick with the lattes and the avocado toast and all that.
So, man, again, it feels really weird because the entire point of this silly little exercise here is him trying to say, oh, well, no, it's the food, actually. I want to be in liberal cities because the food is better. No, I don't think that's the reason. I think your Grindr account is a little more populated when it's in a less red zone. However, actually, no. I say that. Grindr apps aren't less populated in red zones. It's just that red zones tend to be very very filled. So your thing is less populated in a blue zone. There we go. There's my brain. My brain's cutting on. I've been awake for 30 minutes, you can tell. But yeah, no, I feel like part of it might just be that the Grindr app is a little less likely to go down in a blue zone. There we are. There's the thought I was trying to make. Boy howdy, I'm not good at this first thing in my morning. Said the snacks are more prevalent. Anselin says, not all of us put high fructose corn syrup in our barbecue sauce. That's still, it's a conversation about the South in general. The language says, I'm back, dog is empty, and weather has gone from going to rain to actively raining. Sean says, no, it's because it functions in a blue zone, then it does in a red zone because it collapses all the time. Well, yeah, Grindr in red zone just disappears. You know, it's just weird thing. So, I've heard this said, but I've never downloaded Grindr because, you know, the boards are straight. But I've heard it said before that, like, there are a decent bit of trans women that end up having to use Grindr because it is just less likely that they're going to have bad shit happen to them through that dating app, even if they're, you know, technically not the people that should be on there. That's a thing that I've seen a handful of times, just like in passing on Blue Sky or in passing on Twitter, and I don't know if there's any actual truth to that at all. Maybe I should ask some Republicans and see if there's some truth to that. I said Grindr goes down and transport viewing goes up. Lydia Newitt says, or Levy says, people put femboy only in their profiles and shit too. That's a thing? I mean, like, I can kind of get that, you know, you're on a dating / fucking app to find people, but seriously? I don't know, man. There's a part of me that just feels like there's a weird bit of fetishization that happens for people in certain areas of the LGBTQ community. So, like, you get bisexual women and they get fetishized because, oh, a threesome might happen. You get trans women and they get fetishized because, God, hot girl has dick. It's weird, man. It's really weird. It's really weird. I get that, like, a lot of people's first exposure to this shit is porn, but that doesn't make it any more unweird. Tazora says, I never get why people try to argue that this or that other food is bad and cringe and stuff by just reductio ad absurdum. You could do that with about any food. Lattes are just milk with coffee shots. Avocado toast is just toast with avocado spread. Yeah, so I think, though, man, I don't want to do the whole, like, you gotta hand it to Nick, because you don't fucking have to hand it to a Nazi. But I will say, as somebody who lives in the South, Southern comfort food is kind of shit. Like, I just don't, I am not a giant fan of it. I will eat it every once in a while, but it's some of the easiest shit to cook, and it's just not great sometimes. Like, I don't hate Southern comfort food. I guess it's just that I never really crave Southern comfort food. Lydia says, you like grits? No, I hate grits. I do. You gotta hand the dick, hand what? A badger? Oh my god. Glitchmaster says, that's like putting butch. That's weird. You can say something like, I'm attracted to more masculine present women. I mean, I can understand that, but at the same time, like, that word is used as a descriptor. Oftentimes, even, like, within those circles, from what I understand. Anselin says, depends on the queue. I don't much care for Texas dry rub, but most sweet KC burnt ends are yummy. Melody says, in the worlds of Avenue Q, the internet's really, really great. Lord Fonzie says, what about cornbread? Cornbread's okay. Like, it's okay at best. It's okay at best. But the actual thing that I wanted to talk about, which was not Nick wanting to be in blue cities, because there was a higher likelihood that his favorite dating apps would not go down, was this one. Right Wing Watch grabbed this, where he had some choice words to say about whammon.
Islam is not right about a lot of things, but it is right about women should really not be allowed to travel by themselves. So,
The only reason that you would ever say that women should not travel by themselves is if you were worried about them being, assaulted. Unless it's for some other reason. Is it for some other reason, Nick?
So what are you traveling for?
Oh, it's not for their safety. It's because women have no business traveling. So, like, as an example, my mother, who works in insurance, when she travels across the country to, do her job, that's no. And like, if a woman is working in politics and she's having to travel the country to try to get votes, like any other politician, what are you traveling for? Like, no. It's actually okay that people in the United States are a little more equal than they were 70 years ago, Nick.
What is a girl going to college for? It's totally insane that they do this.
How is it insane? Okay, so there's two reasons this is stupid, right? There's two reasons this is stupid. Reason number one, probably the easiest reason to talk about. This is dumb because it should be okay for women to get work, because women should not have to rely on men in order to sustain themselves. I'll be honest, I would prefer, in any circumstance where I have the ability to, I would prefer having a partner that has their own income. For instance, my girlfriend, she had her stream when she was able to operate a little better, when she was a little healthier, and she has her OnlyFans. She has money that comes in for herself. She has her stocks that come in as well. It may not be as much as me or her would like, but it is still her own money that comes in for her. I prefer being with a partner that has even a little bit of access to their own funds for a myriad of reasons. One, boy, it is so great when your birthday starts and your girlfriend can give you a gift, and it's not a gift that your money had to go into. She's just like, yeah, no, I love you, so here's this thing that I got because I was thinking of you. That shit's great. There is a cube in our living room that Saki got that has a Pokemon character that is male, a Pokemon character that is female, and then on the male side, it has Vaporeon and Gyarados, and Meganium, and then on the female side, it has Gardevoir and Pikachu, and I don't remember what the last one is that's over there as well, but I can literally go into the living room and check. And on the bottom, it says training together since, and it's our anniversary date. She got that because the thing that we bonded over was nerd shit. We bonded over playing Magic the Gathering. We bonded over liking MMORPGs. We bonded over Pokemon. So because she has access to her own funds, when Christmas came around, she was able to get me a gift that both signified when we got together and the interest that we bonded over. And that shit was great. That's fantastic. I love that she was able to do that, and I didn't have to be involved in that whatsoever. Like, just on a minimally selfish take. There's that. There's also the obvious other side of that, where if something were to happen between us, I would like her to be able to sustain herself and not have to rely on me, or, God forbid, let's say that the opposite of what happened previously when we got together happened. She was with an abusive partner and was financially reliant on the abusive partner. If for some reason we were to break up, I would not want her to be gambling with whether or not she would be in a situation with another abusive partner in order to survive. I would rather her to be able to, make the decision of just living on her own if that is what she would have preferred to do if something were to happen between us. I think that that's a reasonable thing to say. I think it's caustic to want women to have to be codependent on you. It's not healthy. But if you don't want a world where women can go get educated or go get jobs, then you inadvertently want that world. Now, that's part of it. That's part of it. The other part of this, Becky says, God damn it, you're so wholesome. I just described a Christmas present. It's not okay. Anyway, I appreciate the thought. The other part of that, the other half of that, is this. If, for some reason, we magically get to the point where college doesn't cost an arm and a leg, can we all agree that it would be better if we stopped pretending that college was only for getting a job? The only reason that we think of college as an onboarding to a job is because we put so much financial weight on college. If college didn't cost anything, if it was handled by your taxpayer dollars instead of some random fucking politician getting their fourth house somewhere in Macon, I think that there would be less stigma about people not getting employment after college that had to do with their college degree. Because I think that it should be okay for people to just want to get smarter. I think it should be okay for people to just want an education. That feels reasonable to me. Now, I know that one of the reasons that we fight tooth and nail to make sure that that is not the case is because it is both financially beneficial to, lobbying agencies for us to not have access to all the education in the world. They would rather us be very, very dumb and not vote well, and that means that by proxy, it's also very, very helpful to politicians, specifically Republican politicians. Republican politicians typically do better in places that have worse education results. And that's not a fucking accident. There is a reason that Republicans do incredibly well in states that do incredibly poorly in education, because the types of people who generally vote Republican are the types of people who generally do not look into what the Republican stands for or does not understand that what that Republican stands for is actually against their own material self-interests. And they don't know those things because they either do not know how to or do not care to get educated on those things. And if you cultivate an environment where the only thing that we think college is for is getting a job, then you will inadvertently always have this environment where people are not going to try to get smarter for the love of just learning shit. Right now, people want less of trying to improve themselves, of trying to get an education, of trying to learn skills, and they want more of sitting down on their phone just watching TikTok. And I'm not saying that to disparage individual people. And I'm not saying that to disparage people who might have disabilities, and that's one of the few things that they can actually do with the handful of spoons they have. I'm saying that because there is a group of people, we call them the Epstein class, who have deliberately built algorithms into technology that we use every day as a matter of course, that is built to be addictive and keep us just sitting here doing nothing. Because when you sit there doing nothing, you don't go out and lobby against them. When you sit here doing nothing, you don't go and form a union. When you sit here doing nothing, you don't go out with your friends and talk about your paychecks and why some of you aren't actually getting paid enough for what you do. And oh, by the way, you both happen to be working in the same factory, so there might be a chance that some of you need to have a conversation with your boss, together as a unit. A unit. Oh boy, but if we just take the T off that and put a different couple of syllables at the end of there, that just looks like a union. And people in the Epstein class do not want you to form unions. And one of the key ways that they keep you from forming unions is by making sure that you lack an education. Anyway, so there's my rant on education. I think, A, it should be okay for women to get an education. Just hot take there. Because I think it should be okay for women to be able to sustain themselves without men being, necessary for that. And B, I think that we should have less stigma on education being only a tool to enrich some other corporate dipshit.
It's totally insane that they're going to college alone, they're on world tour alone.
Which women are on world tour alone? Are we talking about, fucking Taylor Swift or some shit? Because, who cares on that one? This is an artist who's infinitely more talented than you are, that is going out and doing things in the world that has infinitely more impact than you do. You're on kick.
It's just unthinkable. So Islam is right about that. Freedom of movement.
He says it's unthinkable, but he can't actually articulate why it's unthinkable. He needs you to nod and assume that you agree with his base assumptions that this is unthinkable. But he can't actually articulate why it should be unthinkable, because any reason he gives will just not hold up to any amount of scrutiny. And I know this because there have been times where Nick has tried to justify these positions, and they don't hold up to scrutiny.
Should not exist for women. Married, unmarried, I don't even care. You should have to move with your father, your brother, your husband.
Why? What happens when any of those people are abusive? What happens when any of those people have tried to rape you? You know that the majority of sexual assaults actually happen from people who are either close friends of the family or just are from the family? Why should women have to be attached at the hip to men? And why should men not have a similar standard? On the surface, I can agree with the base idea that we should have people who move as family units more often, because that would mean that we are less incentivized to have to enter the predatory housing market, and we could actually, like, as generations of people, build better generational wealth instead of constantly divvying it up amongst a whole bunch of fucking landlords. That's certainly something that I could be on board with, but that's not the point you're making. The point you're making is about keeping women subservient, which is so weird for a guy who can't even figure out how to fuck one.
Some kind of state-appointed guardian. But yeah, they go around on...
Why should women have a state-appointed guardian? Why should we want the government to be involved in just you being a woman? Sidebar, just a weird thought that popped in my head. You know how oftentimes people who are very homophobic tend to be gay, and people who are very transphobic tend to also be trans. They're just suppressing it, and the way that they suppress it is by fighting against it as hard as they can. And it's a very, very sad state of affairs, and I once was convinced very briefly by another content creator that I should not lean into those stereotypes at all, because it assumes that the people who often oppress themselves, or the people who are often oppressive of minorities, are just the minorities themselves, and that's a bad stereotype. And I even did a video about that in regards to powder, so I kind of understand that thought process. At the same time, it's really fucking weird that it keeps happening that often. It's really weird that it happens as often as it does, and I think pretending that we shouldn't call attention to that is weird. So, as a result of that, do you ever feel like there's a part of Nick Fuentes that fetishizes being led around by somebody who's just completely dominant of him because he's trying to make women fetishize that? I feel like when you argue that thing as much as you do, maybe there's a part of you that just kind of secretly wants it. And maybe that's weird of me. Maybe that's completely, out of turn for me to say. But like with homophobic pastors, it happens often enough that maybe I'm onto something? I don't know. Like, I'm not going to say that we're going to find out in the final episode of the amazing digital hell that is Nick Fuentes' life, that he's actually secretly a trans girl, and all of his abrasiveness has been a way to try to hide from that because he didn't like how his dad treated him. But at the same time, I'm saying that that's not impossible. Gideon with the fucking rowdy face. Hotspot says, wasn't Nick a part of the stream where Kanye and other chuds admitted that they were all cucks? Was he? I don't remember that. That one's news to me. Blackberry Corp says, please don't let this happen. Boy, I have news for you. We've already seen this play out once, but it was in a 3D animated cartoon that is technically an adaptation of I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream, which is something I didn't realize until yesterday, when I stumbled on a YouTube video about it, because I don't have original thoughts. Other YouTubers have original thoughts, and I ape them. Marco says, I know Sneeko was. Fair. The amazing physical hellhole. But no, I think that it is nightmarishly stupid to think that because of the circumstances of one's birth, one should be given fewer rights than others. And that is the world that Nick Fuentes argues for. Not just because of the racial superiority shit that he preaches on his stream every now and again, a lot of times, but also just because there's shit like this, where, hey, you happen to be born a woman. Therefore, by some cosmic coincidence, you deserve to be led around on a leash or some shit. So they did name the evil computer Cain. True. Glitch says, no such thing as an original thought. All of our ideas are derivative. Yeah. Blackberry says, I don't like that this is a possibility. Just 10 years from now, if we find that Nick Fuentes is starting to put on the cat ears himself, then I'm just going to say I called it, and I'm also very depressed about it. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitt, I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.